Hey, it's Brandon.
And Randy.
We're back right here in Memphis, Tennessee, and as you know, we love finding out these cool little Elvis stories. And one that we kind of came across is Elvis when he used to live not at Lauderdale Courts, which is what we're looking at right now, but when he used to live right across the street, right back here. He was at an address called 462 Alabama Avenue, and he was living with another family while he was there. Now, to give you a little backstory, he moved, the family moved there because they made too much money, and I think it was like $5 over that they made, and so they
had to move from Lauderdale.
They had to move from Lauderdale, so they moved right over here to 462 Alabama, which is right across the street. And
in fact, we're standing in the exact spot where Elvis stood in a very famous picture of him right in front of the Alabama house.
Which is this picture right here. There's a little family called the Fruchters, which is Alfred and Jeanette.
Elvis was on the bottom, or the Presley family was on the bottom floor. The Fruchters were on the top floor, and they shared this pretty big house, really.
Yeah, but this is where it gets interesting. As you know, you always hear a little bit of Elvis having Jewish roots, and that his Gladys was Jewish. But while they were living here, the Fruchters were actually Jewish. And Alfred was the rabbi here in Memphis at
Beth El-Emeth Synagogue. And they
started the Hebrew Academy here in Memphis, which is now located more out east. But when they were living here, Elvis was, now what was that name again that?
He called, well, first Elvis became very close with them. He would call the rabbi, Sir Rabbi, all the time.
When they had a baby, he carried the baby. He says, can I please carry the baby upstairs for the first time? So he carried the baby upstairs. And they were even so close that they bought Elvis a little black onyx, I don't know if it was a pendant or something, when he graduated from high school.
Yes, and in fact, they would give the Presleys money when they needed it quite often. So they were very, very, very close. So being that Rabbi Fruchter was a rabbi at the local Beth El-Emeth, Jeanette would be somebody who baked a lot of challah and had Elvis over quite a bit, and he absolutely loved that stuff. They kept very close Jewish ties throughout all the years. In fact, Elvis would come on Friday nights and help out the rabbi, because in the Jewish religion, you're not supposed to be opening electricity and things like that on Shabbat, and so Elvis would go in.
Opening electricity? You mean turning on?
Switching on the electricity.
Yes.
Elvis would go in there and help them do those things. So if they wanted to turn their lights on, he'd go up there and do that, or turn their gas stove on, he would do that. Throughout Elvis's life, he was so close with his family, and they had given the Presleys a lot of money over the years to help them out when they needed it. Elvis ended up giving quite a bit of money back to the community. He actually gave a lot of money to Rabbi Fruchter's Hebrew Academy in order for him to open a bigger Hebrew Academy. And later, in Gladys's name, gave a very big donation in 1967 to the Jewish Community Center up at Poplar, which is actually, there is an actual plaque there now.
So when you hear about Elvis being discovered at Sun Records, he was not living at Lauderdale, as some movies and other things point out, but he was actually living right back here in a very cool house, two-story house. If you're ever back here in Memphis, you find Lauderdale Courts. Now the thing is, I'm going to see if I can kind of flip this camera around just for 2 seconds. So to give you a little understanding where we're at, down this way, if you go down there about another half mile and to the left, that would have been Lauderdale Courts. Or not Lauderdale Courts, but where Elvis was living at Lauderdale Courts. So if you come up, obviously you see the highway right here.
St. Jude is now there.
St. Jude is across the highway. And where you see this little fire hydrant.
Do you want me to run across the fire hydrant?
No, I think they can see the fire hydrant, but we'll walk over towards the fire hydrant here. So we're gonna cross Memphis streets here, so we gotta be a little careful. But the fire hydrant that we're coming towards Elvis's house would have sat right here, right in this area, right here. And I'll put a picture up so you can kind of get the idea of where it was at. We also showed the other picture as we come across the street. Elvis would have been leaning up against his 1942 Zephyr right over here, and then his house would have been in the background right here. So you come up, here's Danny Thomas Boulevard. You get on the highway right here, and so this little area, when Elvis was first recording for Sun Records, 1954, Elvis was living right here with the Fruchters in Memphis, Tennessee.
Sit, Elvis, sit.
Woof.
Good dog.